Getting ready to take on spring? Make your first move with the reliable performance and power of Steel battery tools. From hedge trimmers and mowers to string trimmers and more, save on select Steel battery tools. Right now, save $50 on the FSA 57 battery trimmer set. Real Steel. Find yours at steeldealers.com. With AK-10 battery and AL101 charger, offer valid for limited time only while supplies last. See participating dealer for details.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. With summer quickly approaching, CarShield is offering a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs, like AC parts and check engine light mysteries. See why CarShield is voted America's most trusted vehicle protection company, and see why our commitment to our customers has landed us an A rating with the Better Business Bureau. We have live reps here to answer all your questions. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Visit us for your free quick quote today at carshield.com/audio. That's carshield.com/audio. What do you have to lose? Visit carshield.com/audio.
It's time for a Big Blue Kickoff Live.
Nobody can ever tell you that you couldn't do it, because you did.
On Giants.com.
You know what I saw? New York Giant pride.
And the Giants mobile app.
17-14 is the final. One touchdown, we are world champions. Believe it, and it will happen.
Part of the Giants Podcast Network.
Let's go out there like a bunch of crazy dogs. Have some fun.
Welcome to Tuesday's edition of Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Football Giants. Thank you so much for being with us. It is the first day of practice at the veteran mandatory minicamp. I'm Paul Dottino, who's two-time Super Bowl champion Jonathan Casillas, at jcasillas52. I am at Giants WFAN. I know we're starting late, folks, but we did try to get the advisory up on Twitter for you earlier. 2 o'clock start this afternoon because we did have the first minicamp practice as well as a media availability. Giants making several players available to us for conversation in addition to head coach Brian Daboll. We will break down some of the things that they said, but first we will, of course, start with some of our views and observations from today's practice session. As always, you can find an archive of this show and our entire podcast network on the Giants mobile app, podcast platforms everywhere, and at giants.com/podcast. Now, first things first. As far as minicamp is concerned, it's really, as Coach said, an extension of OTAs and that there's no contact, Jonathan. I think that's very important for everybody to understand. Until they get to the regular training camp toward the end of July, there's no real hitting or tackling going on at all. So I always say take this with a 5-pound bag of salt.
Yeah, this is basically 7-on-7 or flag football. That's the most that you're going to get out there today, like you said. There is no contact, and you know, as a professional, I think these guys do a pretty good job in upholding to that, because back in the day when they said no contact, there was guys hitting people all over the place.
In any event, today's session specifically, Brian Daboll had individual drills and then had 11-on-11s. They did not do 7-on-7s today, which disappointed quarterback Daniel Jones. Mm-hmm. Now, Jones, as you probably know, they've been holding him back. He has done everything the doctors and trainers have asked him to do. He told us today during his media session that he has passed every single hurdle and even then some, and is going to be ready for the beginning of training camp. Now, at the same time, because they want to be very careful and cautious with him, they're limiting him to 7-on-7s during the spring practice sessions. Well, without a 7-on-7 today, he just had to do some ghost routes and some stuff on the side with the trainers, and that kind of bummed him out. But you know what, Jonathan? He's the franchise quarterback. You can't take any chances.
Yeah, and you know he's highly competitive. So
he's
definitely the itch to get out there with his guys, because there's a little difference between 7-on-7 and full-on
no doubt
11-on-11 right now. Even though there's no contact, There's a little bit of a difference. There's more of the team aspect there. There's the run-pass situation that's not there in the 7-on-7 situation. But that's Daniel Jones being Daniel Jones. He is an athlete. He wants to compete. We all know that, he's one of the most, I think, the great competitors on the New York Giants roster. And we see that from year in and year out. And the guy just wants to play football, man. You can't blame him for that.
Not at all. All right, let's go over some of the highlights that we did see at practice today. Then we'll go more into what Jones said and some of the other folks here at the facility. Offensive highlights, Wan'Dale Robinson caught a quick slant from Drew Lock and took it to the house on what was probably about a 60-yard pass play on a catch and run, which was incredibly dynamic, and you'd love to see that in a regular season game for sure. Bryce Ford Wheaton made a terrific stab, fully extended diving to make a grab on a Tommy DeVito throw, which only the receiver could get, so it was in the right spot. And also Theo Johnson caught a long touchdown pass from DeVito down the left sideline, the young tight end who has really shown a lot of explosiveness, athleticism, and really good hands. Those were really the major highlights from the offense today.
Well, got anything on defense? Or you got that coming up?
Defensive guy.
Of course.
I should have started with defense.
That would have made me happy. I'd have shut up.
Exactly. See, that's why you looked at me with that puzzled grin on your face. Like, what is he doing?
Are we
Doesn't
biased?
He know? Right.
Are we biased here? I'm biased, for sure.
I don't know he played linebacker, right? Okay, on defense.
Let's go.
Caleb Hayes, pass defensed on a post thrown by Nathan Rourke, where he closed very quickly at the very end of a long bomb and was able to knock it away. Then he had another pass defensed on a flat route off to the sideline that Rourke also threw, and he closed and read it and jumped in front and made the play. That was really cool. Brian Burns, very impressive coming off the edge, but again, we talk about these drills. I hate to even talk about potential sacks during these drills because it just doesn't make sense to me. No, I hate when writers and other media talk about, oh, he should have had 3 sacks today, or he got in the backfield nonstop. No kidding. No kidding. The offensive lineman can't do a thing. Really. I mean, Pearson could beat somebody off the edge in these drills. All right. Anyway. And then the other defensive plays, Elijah Riley had a pass defensed, which was a very nice play. And then Dre Phillips with an interception off a deflected ball by the wide receiver Houston. You guys, Dennis Houston, remember he had made some plays the other day. He had picked the ball up in the air, and Phillips came down with a pick. And that was, the only turnover that I saw on defense today. Those were some of the plays. I don't know how many of these, carry more than 5 pounds of salt for you. But these were some of the things that happened today.
But usually when you look at days like this, especially mandatory days where basically everybody has to be here, but the Giants have been having really good attendance here.
No complaints about the attendance. Everybody's here.
Few months.
As far as we know.
The question is, who won today, offense or defense? I was there, but I wasn't as intently watching as you were.
Who won today, offense or defense?
Don't look at your notes. Just tell me what you feel, how you felt when you walked off the field. Okay, offense had a good day. Usually when the offense has a good day, I mean they won the day, usually.
When they walked off the field, I thought it was a draw.
A draw? Oh, he copped out, Pearson. You see that? Copped out. He copped out.
I'm sorry.
All right. Okay. Way to
Look,
be PC.
It's good, though. Back and forth.
I know you're a little young to remember the 1970s and the big heavyweight boxing matches that we used to have.
Because I wasn't alive.
I know that. But I'm telling you, there would be mega fights. There were 15-round heavyweight championship fights in those days. And there would be mega fights where the scores would be like 7-5 and 3.
Right.
Because there were 3 rounds that were a draw.
Right.
Draws were not uncommon to have draw rounds in heavyweight championship fights. That was a common occurrence, folks. So I grew up in an era where, you could say draw and not necessarily get looked at like, oh, you're just being a weasel. Okay? No, those were legit, man.
Yeah, but that's how it works, though. Back and forth between the offense and defense.
If you just consider what I just said to you, right?
Yeah, it looks even.
It's pretty even.
Pretty even, yeah.
All right.
That's good.
Yeah, I think so. All right, so let's quickly get to some of the thoughts. The phone number to dial, folks, and while we discuss some of the podium stuff from the media today, we would like you to call in, and the second half of the show, or maybe even before that, we're going to get to your calls, your questions, and your comments at 201-939-4513. 201-939-4513. We will also want to remind you that an archive of this show is available later on the Giants Podcast Network, in case I didn't do that before. I know some people probably missed the show live today because we had to change the time because of the Giants practice schedule. So apologies for that. But we'll also, I believe, Pearson, are we doing that tomorrow as well? Are we changing the time tomorrow too? 2 o'clock again tomorrow? Folks, if you're listening to this on the archive or even live, Wednesday's show is also going to be moved from 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Time due to the Giants practice schedule. That will be the second mandatory minicamp practice of the week. There'll be an early walkthrough on Thursday morning, but that's nothing much to speak of. And then the players are off until training camp starts in late July. So it's about a 6-week blackout period for the players. We'll still be here to do Big Blue Kickoff Live. Don't you worry about that. We'll take your phone calls and have conversation with you. But there is a blackout period for the players and the coaches, and they got to have some time off and have some vacation time. So just to get you apprised as to what the schedule is. All right, couple of thoughts here. Let's quickly go to you on Darren Waller. He did, in fact, decide to retire. Cited a lot of personal issues and things that he had to navigate in his own life, and has decided that football is not in the cards. So Brian Dable said he's most concerned about Darren Waller, the person, wishes him well, wants him to do well, has been in contact and in touch with him, understands that this was the decision, thanks him for his time, and again, wishing him all the best, with the understanding now that the Giants have a tight end room which has Daniel Bellinger, Lawrence Cager, Theo Johnson, among others, who now have to fill that void. Some of your thoughts as to how the Giants are going to be able to take care of business.
Well, first off, personally, I want to shout out Darren Waller because he's been a guy who has dealt with some mental health stuff,
serious
physical health stuff, in the past. So I do hope he's in good spirits. It's a rough time for him, I would think so, because, he's going through his personal life with his, divorce with Kelsey Plum. And then also, that transition out of the game is not easy. Somebody that, been dealing with that and going through that. The Giants have had my back throughout that whole process, which is, I'm definitely indebted to them. But, it's a rough time for him.
Now you've got to work with me, and that's no pleasure.
No, you're my guy.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to lighten the mood a little bit.
Yeah. But, I wish nothing but the best for Darren Waller. I think last year was a rough year for everyone on the New York Giants franchise, and especially the offensive guys. And it was kind of rough to watch at times. So I hope he can bounce back, and whatever he does after this, I hope he has some success, whether it's rapping, whether it's, still being around football, whatever the case is. But with him being gone, that allows, I think, the Giants to possibly secure a roster spot for somebody that has the significance of a Darren Waller. Last year when the Giants signed Darren Waller, and the one preseason game we saw him, we were like, oh my gosh, this is everything that we thought he would be. Yeah. And then, of course, the whole offense was kind of, underwhelming, I should say, as a collective unit. But now, that Darren Waller is gone, that leaves a void, and that also leaves a void in terms of, finances-wise. So I think the Giants can figure out, maybe not now, but before this season starts, how can they allocate that money that they have for Darren Waller for somebody else, a free agent signing, a trade, or, whatever the case is. And I feel like the Giants should do that. The Giants should bring in somebody that's a veteran, that's played good football, that's possibly a free agent, or maybe a trade, sometime in training camp or right after training camp or something like that, to bring in good locker room leadership. Yes, you want a guy to play. Yes, you want a high character guy. Yes, you want a guy that might be on the cheaper end when you look at the available free agents or trade wise. But I think leadership is key for the Giants. You look at the roster. I feel like there's a lot of talent on the roster, and I'm looking at the defensive back room, but there's not that many veterans there. When I say veterans, 4 or 5 years plus of experience. Adoree Jackson was that guy, but now he's not on the roster anymore.
I think Jalen Mills might have the most
experience.
He's
year 9, if I'm not mistaken.
He's the real grandpa of the group.
He is. He's the older guy in the group. He's a safety. I'm thinking more of the corner room. You look at the room, you got, I think, a lot of potential there. You got Cordell Flott. Of course, we know Banks last year had a great rookie campaign, but who's the veteran leadership in that corner room? I think that's invaluable. I don't think you could put a price on veteran leadership in a very talented room that's consisting of a lot of young guys. I think that would be like it's huge, especially going into the season, knowing that you have talent at that position, but you don't have a veteran guy that can actually tell them the ins and outs. And I know there's a guy out there that played for the Cowboys, play for other squads, was an all-pro player. I think me and you covered him one time when we did Inside the Numbers or Beyond the Numbers with the Giants.
He played for the Bills for a while too.
Gilmore is a fantastic player, and he is on the street right now. I'm not saying they do it now, but that might be somebody that you can bring in and have an immediate impact, not only on the field, but in the locker room and helping out that young corner room.
What's up? I'm John Wall.
And I'm CJ Toledano, and we're starting a new podcast presented by DraftKings called Point Game. We're now joined by 3-time NBA Sixth Man of the Year, elite bucket getter. Let's please welcome Jamal Crawford to Point Game. King of the Court one-on-one tournament. If they had it back in your prime, do you think you could have took it all?
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think I could have took it all, but I think I would have shocked a lot of people. I think Kobe and everybody in their prime, Kobe would win a one-on-one contest.
Yeah, because you got to think he's going to guard. He don't care about guarding.
He's going to guard.
He's going to guard. Like, you see him in the Olympics, he's going to guard. And then on top of that.
Like that, see that?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sam Cassell to Point Game.
I remember you came to my room crying, tears, crying. I mean, he was in a culture shock. And then he's going through withdrawals about winning.
Remember what I told you? I said, OG, you think I can get paid and go back and play in college because it ain't it?
Check out Point Game with John Wall and CJ Toledano on the iHeartRadio app, DraftKings YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, the Giants need to figure out how they want to allocate those finances. Again, they got a little over about $11.5 million back off of the salary cap due to Waller's retirement. And so they could spend the money on a free agent. They could spend the money by making a trade and absorbing somebody's contract, or they could just sit tight and use that money during the course of the season and maybe even use it to roll over into next year's cap. Yeah. So they got three options as to how they want to deal with this space that has now been created underneath the salary cap threshold. So that's an interesting conversation to have, certainly, for sure. Interesting as well is Brian Daboll's praise of one Lawrence Cager today. So not only did we hear from Bellinger, who said his top priority in the offseason was pass routes and how he wants to become a better route runner, but we also heard from Brian Daboll that Lawrence Cager has been having a stellar camp, specifically his involvement in the pass game. And we've mentioned him a couple times over the course of the last 2 months. I didn't think it was like Times Square worthy of putting up on the big Digitron, but Brian Daboll went out of his way to really give Cager a pat on the back.
Well, that's good because you need somebody to show up and I think replace, a really good tight end in Darren Waller, especially in the passing game. The Giants last year, it's on record. The Giants struggled on offense, and a tight end could be a quarterback's best friend. Because sometimes they'll match up against linebackers, sometimes they match up against safeties, too slow, too small, and I think Bellinger, he has a lot of potential to help the Giants in both the run game and the passing game. And the young Theo Johnson, even though we didn't see a lot in the passing game when he was at Michigan, Penn State. When he was at Penn State, sorry, I don't really like none of the Big Ten schools. So if you're not Wisconsin, I might confuse you with another blue Big Ten school.
Whether it's a college bias or a preference for defensive players, you always know where Jonathan stands, don't you?
But I think working him, seeing that big frame and that athleticism, let's see how that starts working into the fold a little bit. And like you said, it's hard to see anything right now, but what you can see people in the passing game. That's something that you can see right now because it's basically 7-on-7 out there. Everybody out there in shirts and shorts. Nobody has pads on, so nobody's hitting anybody. But what you can see are the skill position guys and how they're looking.
All right, couple things about the pressers, and then we will get to your phone calls. Daniel Jones says he does plan on throwing again with teammates during the summer, getting guys together to throw. That's a great sign because
Huge.
obviously it means he's doing well, because I don't think he would be doing that if the trainers or doctors wanted to pull him back.
Right.
So obviously no setbacks. He believes he's got a nice green light going.
Yeah,
that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's good.
That's really good.
And look, I didn't think he was going to be as far as he is now, doing everything that he is doing, because he's basically doing everything besides team period, right? Basically.
Yeah.
He's doing individual drills. He's doing 7-on-7. He's doing all of the runs and all that. And you saw him running today. Looked good running, man.
He's been looking good.
Looks good
for a while now.
So do we expect him, start of training camp, to be taking snaps at the start of training camp fully padded?
It would not shock me.
Right.
It would not shock me at all.
Yeah, and he's
that
been
is the
saying
goal.
that he's ready now.
That is the plan, and I would not be surprised if he does.
That'd be good. That'd be really good for the Giants.
By the way, he does wear a knee wrap on his right leg because of the surgery, but he said it's only just to keep the knee warm.
Okay. No brace, though.
No.
Okay, that's
no
good.
brace.
That's good.
No brace.
It's good.
And he's out there doing alligator runs like zigzags and stop and go and stop and go and sprint outs and gassers. He's doing all of it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. But he's itching to get out there. But I also think
he is.
It's not just because he has
he's
that
itching like the
competitive
chicken
nature.
pox is what it is.
It's not that. It's not just because he has that competitive nature. You know, he's a competitor. You could tell by the way he plays the game. But I think he wants to go out there and put that knee to test. You know, he knows that playing 7-on-7 ain't a real test.
No doubt.
You know, he wants to go out there and test it. If he got to run, if he got a quick little change, a direction in the pocket, get outside the pocket, tuck it down and run after, he breaks the line of scrimmage. I know he wants to do that. He's itching to do that. But, Ronnie Barnes, he's a great trainer. Ring of honor for the Giants. He knows what he's doing. He took care of me when I played. And I know he's having that conversation with Daniel, just pulling him back off the edge. All right, relax. We know you're good, but just relax a little bit. We need you in August and September. We don't need you here in June.
Well, somebody's got to hold him back, and Ronnie's the guy to do it.
He is the guy to do it.
A couple other notes on the defensive side. Oh, actually, I should say Jones was also very praiseworthy of Jalen Hyatt, who he has been throwing to a lot during this offseason about his progression, his route running, his detail orientations, or his his attention to detail is what I'm trying to say. There we go. Hyatt's attention to detail in his route running during this offseason genuinely seems very excited by what Hyatt could bring to the table in year 2. All right, defense. Bobby Okereke says, as far as he's concerned, that Wink Martindale, who was a big blitzer, well, they're going to blitz a lot less this year. Bobby says, as the middle linebacker, he's going to be more involved in coverage this season, and you'll see much more diversity and looks in the scheme than you saw last year, but does say they'll be very aggressive against the run. Did say he picked up some things from Wink about the blitz that he will use this year in the defense. And then his last important comment was that he does believe Brian Burns' addition to the pass rush is going to force quarterbacks to get rid of the ball faster.
Yep, and he's talking about in a 4-down, no extra blitzer or no extra rusher to that set, which is good. That means you have 7 people in coverage, you have 4 people rushing, and 4 people doing their jobs. And if you look around the league, a lot of teams that have success defensively, like the Buffalo Bills, consistently year after year, they play a very vanilla, soft cover 2, cover 4, cover 6 type of defense on the back end, and they're rushing 4 every time. If you can cause havoc by rushing 4 and only 4, that puts 7 back in coverage, that becomes a huge advantage to the defense.
Malik Neighbors was the other player who talked today. In short, he was poised. He basically gave us a lot of very simple stock answers, nothing that was necessarily newsworthy. I will say this, and you can comment on this, Jonathan, because I think maybe it does speak to his mindset. He said he can tell the competition has picked up as they've gone on through the spring, that the wide receivers move a lot in this offense. Pre-snap motion, we're going to see a ton of that with all these guys because Dable really wants them to be interchangeable. And he says he doesn't feel pressure about being a big-time playmaker or the number 1 pick. He says, I'm just trying to provide competition in the wide receiver room and being myself. I tell you, for a guy who does celebrate on the field, he does it at practice, he says he likes to interject a lot of enthusiasm into the room, and on the field, when given a chance to maybe spew about himself, he didn't do it. And that's a good sign because I don't think anybody wants to see the disease of me, and I didn't see it.
That's good. And he said he doesn't feel pressure. Not yet. Not yet. He will. He will. Well, this is the New York Giants.
No DBs are blowing him up here.
Right. He hasn't had a game-winning touchdown quite yet. And that's good, man. I think the kid has a great attitude and a great approach to this time of the year. The kid is a phenomenal talent. I think there's no question that his potential is there. The Giants just have to figure out offensive connectivity together, and it starts with the quarterback position. And, the signs of Daniel Jones reporting for training camp day one as a healthy participant is looking good. It's trending in the right direction, which is good for the entire team.
Well, and of course, Neighbors with his explosiveness, and Daniel was asked about Neighbors too, but he said the obvious. Very explosive, great with his hands on the ball, terrific catch radius because of his acrobatics. Every quarterback loves the fact that a guy can go get the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, someone who can attack the ball is going to be the passer's best friend. Let's not kid ourselves. Neighbors can do that. So in any event, we're going to get to your calls now after I quickly tell you the Giants Huddle podcast is available all year long, featuring long-form interviews, Giants past and present, NFL folks as well. Search for the Giants Huddle and subscribe to your favorite podcast platforms. We'll go to giants.com/podcasts. And don't forget, if you're on Apple Podcasts, you can leave a 5-star review. Lets everybody know you like the program. Giants season ticket memberships are available, taking your fandom to the next level for the 2024 season. To learn more about exclusive member benefits, visit giants.com/tickets. Limited inventory is available. And the official Giants TV streaming app is Giants TV. And it has all kinds of original content. It's on demand and direct to Big Blue fans. Giants TV is free on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire TV, as well as the Giants mobile app. We are done with our business, Jonathan, which means we can now get to you, the fans, and talk about Giants football. 201-939-4513. James in Georgia is on line 2 and first on Big Blue Kickoff Live. Hello, James.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Good to talk to you.
I'm sitting on a forklift right now. Good to talk to y'all. Last time I talked to both of y'all actually before I was taking my son to a football camp.
Very cool, and, yeah. And was that you who sent me the picture of you and Evan Neal?
Yeah. Yes, sir. It was a good camp. It was a very good camp. Evan Neal's a great dude. Paulie, out of all the questions I could have asked Evan Neal, I said, "Do you know Paul Dottino? Does he run around like a crazy man like they say he does?" He's like, "I don't know who that is." All the questions in the world.
I have these guys trained very, very well. They know that outside of these walls, they don't talk about me. That is a no. They are trained well.
The Godfather.
That's it, man. I've been around a long time. I got some clout.
Listen, I'm running around the camp, not like the rest of the parents are enjoying the shade, sitting off to the side. They recruited me to help with the drills. I volunteered basically.
Good stuff.
Standing off, running around. Pretty much I was recording my son, trying to make his reel tape and all. But I just had to tell you, it was a really good camp. I didn't go to the one last year. I'm going to try to make it the next year.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be my son's senior year. Mostly a lot of little kids there, though. Evan Neal's a really good dude.
He is a good dude.
I want to put that out there. As far as, I guess the most recent Giants news is the retirement. And I guess my feeling is unless you bring in like a Gilmore, the veteran presence in the one position that we need one, in my opinion, then I would say just save it for a rainy day because a rainy day is coming. You know what I'm saying? And you don't got to pick up Gilmore today. It could be a week 4. If he's still on the couch at the end of training camp. Before week 1 starts.
Right.
When them late guys who don't want to go to training camp. He might be waiting just for that. He might be fielding phone calls right now. Waiting until training camp is over and then jump on the bandwagon. But outside of probably cornerback, I really do like our depth and what the team looks like now. Just see what we got. See what the squad looks like going forward. Jonathan, appreciate all the tidbits you gave on the show last week. My son, he was sitting there, he listened, he applied them, and I appreciate what y'all, so great. Love y'all. I'm looking off the air.
Thanks, James. Appreciate the call. 201-939-4513. Not that I'm going to be tampering in any way, but let me give you a couple of names of veteran corners who made $10 million base or less last year. Just a couple of names who, if you'd like to do some research, these are some of the guys who are available. Now, Adoree Jackson obviously was with the Giants last season. He was making $13 million a year. Okay, in his contract, and right now he's a free agent. So Adoree is still out there. Stephon Gilmore is still out there.
What's that percentage number? That's
percentage of snaps the guy played
Okay.
on the team last year. Patrick Peterson is just so far in the down for me. I don't think that I'd even consider that. Steven Nelson was with the Texans last year, and he's currently available. There's a veteran who certainly has a lot of pelts on his belt during the course of the NFL career that he's had. Other than that, I don't know there's anybody else of real significance that I might think about. Fabian Moreau, our old friend Fabian Moreau, believe it or not, was with the Broncos last year and not doing anything. Killer Witherspoon, I talked about him way back when, several months ago. Seems to have resuscitated his career. He's only 29 years old.
Yeah,
with the Rams.
He was $1
he's
million
one of those tall,
last year and played at 93% of the snaps. Not bad.
And he's one of those tall corners. 6'2" plus. There aren't a whole bunch of those in the league.
Yeah.
And he's been around a while. So those are some of the guys that you'd be talking about. If you wanted that type of player to fill a spot on your roster in that position. 201-939-4513. We go to line 3. Frank in Houston. You're next on Big Blue Kickoff Live. Hello.
Hey, good afternoon, gentlemen.
Hi.
Hey, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. Happy
For sure.
Father's Day to all
That
the
too.
fathers. Health and wealth to all. I appreciate you guys. I always check out, your shows. I never catch you live, but I finally caught you live. I always check the shows out. Your boy Pat Leonard, I check out his podcast all the time, his live chat. He's always very entertaining, very active with the chat.
Well, that is certainly your prerogative, but we'll just leave that right there if that's okay with you.
Yeah. I mean, he's ain't that bad at times, right? He has different takes. Everyone has different opinions. I always have a chat about how our problem has been head to head, Mara and down. The decision-making, the coaches in place, the play calling. Jones, everybody hates Jones. All the fans hate Neal. All I got to say is Jones never really had a chance. He's had no team, no O-line, poor play calling, and he keeps getting up. He doesn't complain. He's really going to turn it around. If he stays healthy, we could get a line in front of him. It's going to be all right for Jones. But it starts with the play calling. It starts with situational awareness. Because there's so many games that we've had in the past couple of years that we've lost by, a possession. 2, 3, 4 games a season. We're losing by a possession. It's 3, 4, 5 games a year that so close. We lose it. It's like, what's going on? And it's really the play calling, just situational awareness. And hopefully that turns around. I'm glad Coach Dayball, he's taking over the play calling, and he's more active with it, as they say in camp so far. But everybody's giving Neal a headache. He was injured, The guy was injured. All the pressure was coming from the middle. It didn't help that we're going against playoff defenses the first half of the season, and we're not even running 12 and 13 personnel to try to help them and give the ball to Barkley more and try to, help the whole line. And we were trying to, we thought we had Patrick, my homie Jordan back there, We thought we could do the spread out offense and throw the ball everywhere, So we got Jones hurt again, and now we're looking at, what we're going to do. We brought in Locke. Locke is a cool backup. To me, he's not better than Tyrod, but, he'll do suffice for now. But for Jones, I believe that it's all about the confidence that the staff gives to him. It's about the confidence that, hey, man, we're going to take care of you. Hey, man, we know what you like to run. We know what you're better in. We're not going to force you to try to run a scheme that you're not – that it's just not going to work with no O-line, no receivers. now that we have weapons, right? We got more weapons, neighbors. We got O-line. We got the coach Priscillo coming in. I believe it'll gel a little more. It'll gel better. It'll give us a better shot. I don't know what was going on with the O-line coach Johnson. I guess Dayball wanted his homeboy to, stay in, with a job and stuff. And the scheme maybe didn't fit with Kafka and everybody. It just wasn't right. It didn't gel right. Musical chairs at O-line and, different play callings during the game that didn't make sense. But now moving to this season, it's like each summer we have plenty of talent. And then each winter is like a misery, right? So with all this talent, we got Ovi, we got the DB Johnson, we got some kids that are young that we're able to probably look for a better practice squad. I'm not even saying put Ovi on the starter or even Johnson starting or Giles in a year. But looking at the talent, it looks like the practice squad is going to be a lot better. So my practice squad is a lot better because if you practice hard, you play hard. So my practice squad is elevated. That means my 53-man roster is a lot better. So when we're going into this season, I'm just really looking forward to how the coaching staff decides to put the scheme together. Because we have Singletary, right? He's a great seasoned veteran back. I'm from Houston, so, I'm a home teamer. Stroud's amazing. Singletary helped him out a lot. So I believe that Singletary will do a great job for the young running backs.
All right, let me ask you this, Frank, before I let you go, because we have other callers, but I do want to ask you this. Since you saw Singletary day in and day out being in Houston, what's the best thing about his game? What's the one thing you really liked that he'll bring to the table for the Giants as the lead in their rotation?
I'll give you a couple things with Singletary. He's a stand-up person, number one, a great human being, great individual. He's a hard worker. You never seen him on the sideline fighting or into any type of mess. He's always keeping his head down and working hard and pushing forward. And then as his game on the field, he's not a player that is selfish. He doesn't worry about personal achievements. So as soon as he sees a hole, he hits the hole. He goes north and south. He doesn't do the dancing. He doesn't do the undecisiveness. He's the type of back that, hey, it's 1st and 10. Let me go ahead and just get these little 3 yards if that's all I could get.
Right.
That's better than a negative. So with that being in a locker room with youngsters like Tracy and more younger running backs that we might bring in, that'll show them, hey, you don't have to try to make the home run play. Hey, you don't have to try to keep letting the blockers open up the hole for you. If you see it, just hit it and go.
Well, Frank, that's the kind of leadership that Jonathan was talking about, if perhaps bringing into the secondary room, the corner room in particular, and that's the kind of thing that you believe Singletary will bring to the running back room, and the Giants agree. Frank, thank you for the call. I got other guys trying to get in.
Wealth always, and we'll talk again.
Thank you. Please do call us again. 201-939-4513. You want to respond quickly to one of his points, and we'll go back to the calls?
I mean, he was kind of all over the place.
I think he had a lot built up. He was saving his points for a lot of shows and got them all into one.
Yeah. You can tell he's a fan.
There's no doubt.
He spoke with that passion.
Hey, by the way, Giants will be in Houston this year during week 2 of the preseason, just so you know.
Well, I mean, he kind of hit on everything. But I did hear one thing he said. I got to disagree with him. He said Daniel Jones never had a chance. That's not true. It's just that the situation around him or the situation that happened during the season wasn't ideal. But Daniel Jones had every chance.
And his best chance got them into the playoffs in
right.
2022.
He's had several chances, 5 years of chances to play, and one playoff year. But the potential is there. His highs, I think, I take that over his lows. Like, I see his highs and I say, all right, I like that. The lows I've seen too. And it's like, okay, could I deal with the highs and take some of the lows? Yes, I would definitely have him be somewhere in the middle where he can, win. It's all about winning games. I don't really care personally how each individual player plays. It's all about winning games. Sometimes your stats may not look, up to par in terms of what the outside world may think of a winning quarterback. But if you look at his stats in 2022, when the Giants were the best team since 2016, statistically wise, making it to the playoffs again, Daniel Jones' numbers did not jump off the page.
No.
His efficiency did.
Correct.
And that's what truly matters. If you're throwing, 35, 40 touchdowns a year, you don't have to have the greatest of efficiency.
Well, the 16 season, Eli carried this team offensively on his back.
15.
No, the 16 team that went to the playoffs.
Defensively, we were good.
The defense was really good.
Yeah, 15, we were good.
And
offensively.
Eli carried the offense on his back because there wasn't much else there.
Got you. Yep.
It was Eli and the defense that got the 16 team into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
In 2022, yes, it was the defense, but it was their efficiency led by Daniel Jones, who did not turn the ball over. And did all the little things that don't show up in the stat sheet to help them win.
Yep. Third down, the Giants were really good that year.
Excellent.
And in the red zone.
Excellent in the red zone.
Two of the major categories when
Correct.
you look at teams win-losses, of course, you look at the takeaway turnover ratio, the turnover margin. And the Giants that year, they were good on all three of those things. So if the Giants, they don't have to be a statistical, juggernaut in any type of way, any player. But what you want to see is good situational football, and you want to see good efficiency from the quarterback position.
Yep.
That's what you want.
Back to the phones at 201-939-4513. We go to line 1, Cliff in New York. You're next on BBKL. Hello.
Hey, guys. Great to be with you. Great to hear all the great stuff today. A lot to be optimistic about and pumped up about. I wanted to talk about the defense, especially the D-line, but I asked Pearson first. I assume you guys probably don't want to get into who's a dirty player because there's somebody I was thinking about, and I'm thinking maybe you don't want to do that, an opponent.
Well, look at it this way, Cliff. I don't want to label anybody a dirty player. There are some players who may be a little bit, let's just say, in love with extracurricular activity. How about that? I don't want to use the word dirty because that to me has a lot of implications and is too far-ranging and reaching to just start throwing that word around about somebody. But was there something in particular that really like?
Yeah. I was watching a game last season. The Buffalo was playing somebody that we were going to play the next week. And Josh Allen is sitting on his can after the play, and he's pointing out to somebody, to the officials. And the next week we played that opponent, and Daniel got his neck injury. And
the Miami game.
Yeah, and I wanted to put it this way: if I could just ask it this way with Jonathan, I was thinking about this for months. If you're rushing from the blind side, and you've got a straight line to the quarterback, and he might feel you're coming, but they called it the blind side for a reason, right? And you're going for a strip sack if at all possible most of the time, I guess. And if you're doing that, would you come over the top with your right hand and try to come down to jar the ball loose? Because that was what happened to Daniel, and I didn't realize that until we saw some film during the combine, which gave a different angle on the play than I had originally seen on the TV, where I thought Daniel just got drilled in the back, and it seemed like the guy came over the top, and I just wondered maybe that's a legitimate move on a blindside rush.
Well, man, and I heard Tom Brady say this too, and it's so true. It's not the defensive job to take care of the offensive players. It's not. It's their job to do their job, and I was taught when you're going for that strip sack, and I did the wrong motion, you're not doing this motion, Cliff. I don't know if you can see video right now, but whenever you do, it's not like the wide hook, the wide slap motion. The most efficient way to get the ball out is that you shoot your hand like a jab, instead of throwing a hook. It's like you're shooting your hand at the quarterback, and that, look, if you're hitting a guy's arm that's going back like this, like you can't as a defensive guy, you're not thinking, I don't want to hit his arm at the wrong angle. You're only worried about doing your job. And when you beat a guy and you're, about to hit the quarterback, you're not thinking, I'm going to protect the quarterback while I hit him. No, you're going to think, I need to get that ball out when I hit this guy and bring him down, efficiently, and not let him escape, not let him get the ball out. So, it's hard to say. I hurt a couple people, friendly fire a couple times. I got friendly fired against me, and there's no worse feeling than hurting a guy. There's no worse feeling than that, and I'm not saying some guys, don't feel it, but it's a part of the game. As a player, though, if you're doing what you're coached to do, you're not looking at the health of somebody else prior to the play happening. It's only after the play when you become a human being.
And to be honest with you, Cliff, just going back to the Van Ginkel hit,
yes,
it was not, in my opinion, it was not a dirty play.
No.
If you really want to try to categorize it, I would say no. That does not check the box.
Yeah.
All right. Because I was talking to an Eagles fan about it, and they thought that he had tried to hurt Jalen Hurts.
Well, if you're talking to an Eagles fan, they certainly know the definition of a dirty play.
You know what, Cliff, real quick.
I mean, let's get real.
I have one example that came to my mind against the Packers playoff, the playoff Packer game in 2016, when I was tackling the running back and I had a cast on my arm. So I had a full cast on my arm that ended about right here. Mm-hmm. When I tackled the running back, my cast got caught on his helmet. And I didn't know his helmet twisted all the way around like that. And he dropped the ball. It was Montgomery. And he dropped the ball, and he came out for a while. And people on X or Twitter back in the day, they were sending me messages like, you tried to hurt our player, da-da-da. I didn't even know what happened.
Right.
Like, I didn't know what happened. I'm like, how did his neck turn like that? Mm-hmm. But then I watched again, my cast was hooked onto his face mask.
Oh, man.
And like I said, I didn't know what happened there.
Sure.
Like, we don't have replays on the field.
No.
So, like, when something happens, sometimes the defender or whoever it is, you don't know what happened until you watch the film. And then you, like, I had to still look at it like, how did his neck turn so weirdly like that?
Right.
And I felt bad, but I didn't feel bad to the next day until I watched the film.
Right.
I didn't know I did anything to him. I thought he just got hurt. But you just don't know, Cliff. It's so fast. It's so bang, bang. And, like I say, most guys, every guy in the NFL goes out there with no malice intent to hurt anybody, and people just get hurt because you got big guys running full speed, hitting other big guys.
What's up? I'm John Wall.
And I'm CJ Toledano, and we're starting a new podcast presented by DraftKings called Point Game. We're now joined by 3-time NBA Sixth Man of the Year, elite bucket getter. Let's please welcome Jamal Crawford to Point Game. King of the Court one-on-one tournament. If they had it back in your prime, do you think you could have took it all?
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think I could have took it all, but I think I would have shocked a lot of people. I think Kobe and everybody in their prime, Kobe would win a one-on-one contest.
Yeah, because you got to think, he's going to guard. He don't care about guarding.
He's going to guard.
He's going to guard. Like, you see him in the Olympics, he's going to guard. And then on top of that.
I'm not guarding like that, CJ.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sam Cassell to Point Game.
I remember you came out from crying, tears, crying. I mean, he was in a culture shock. And then he's going through withdrawals about winning.
Remember what I told you? I said, OG, you think I can get paid and go back and play in college because it ain't it?
Check out Point Game with John Wall and CJ Toledano on the iHeartRadio app, DraftKings YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts.
That is a recipe literally for disaster.
All right, Cliff, is that all?
No, I just wanted to. I'll tell you what I was looking for the D line, and then I'll take it off the air. I'm glad you said you didn't think it was a dirty play because I think we're going to see the guy in week 1. I think, but with the D line, you guys coached me up when we were busy getting ready to draft Kayvon about the size of the guys on the DL, and it isn't how much they weigh and all that stuff. I'm just kind of still stuck on having to have pressure up the middle, and I don't know if you can move Kayvon or Burns into the what do you call that tackle?
The three technique?
The if you can make him play the 3 technique at 250, 260, just for a particular scheme on a particular play, if that works. And I'm trying to put it together with what I've been reading about on the website in the Cover 3 about the tradition with the D-line and going back to 2011 with the NASCAR, which I never really understood, and I didn't realize OC wasn't as big as I thought he was, and Strahan neither at the end of his career.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just wondering if we know enough about Burns' defense to put, Shane Bowen's defense to put all that together with what might be different in terms of it always seems to me like when we really got special, like when Leonard was playing at a Pro Bowl level next to Dexter, it got very exciting and very familiar to me from going way back.
Right.
That we really had something going. And I'm just wondering if we can still have that kind of thing coming up the middle with Bowen, and I'll take it off the air.
All right, Cliff, thanks for the call. 201-939-4513. I'm going to let Jonathan respond, but I will just say this to you. We're going to see a lot of different formations. Bowen's proclivity is to have 4 guys on the front line. However many are going to be down in the dirt, that's open for discussion. That could change play to play. Yep. It could change series to series. Who those 4 guys are can change, except for we know Tibbs is going to be out there a ton. We know Burns is going to be out there a ton. And we know Dexter's going to be out there a ton. The 4th guy could be a variety of folks. Could be Nacho. Could be Ryan Anderson, who I think is going to see a lot of time at 3 technique this year. Could be Jordan Riley. Could be Ojulari in a multiple linebacker set. The point is, they could go a lot of different ways here. If you're thinking of the old Giants that won by using those 4 guys up front and just saying, these are our 4 and we're coming after you, that ain't going to happen. That's not happening. It's not. This is going to be more scheme-oriented than it's going to be, these are our 4 guys, try to stop us.
Yeah.
They don't have those 4 guys on this team.
Yep. And if you look at the roster, how it's made up this year, on the defensive side of the ball, I think you have 2 really, really, really good proven pass rushers in Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau. Kayvon's very young, but I don't think you could take anything from what he's been doing in the league the first 2 years he's been in the league. And then you got Ojulari, who is, I think if you look at the roster as a whole, you look at the top 3 pass rushers, I think everybody could agree those are the top 3 pass rushers. Now, when you get into certain situations, it's very beneficial as a defense to have your best pass rushers on the field at one time. Right, and that presents an opportunity for one of those 3 pass rushers to get bumped inside to the 3 or 4 or 5 technique to rush against a guard. Now, I've talked about this before. So Bowen, he's going to run more of a conservative defense. When I say conservative, that just means adding extra guys to the rush, the 5th guy or the 6th guy, which Wink did on a very consistent basis his entire tenure here in Baltimore, wherever he was at.
That's it.
That's what he was known for. Now, just because you're not adding extra guys, that doesn't mean your defense is more conservative. It's more of the term of bringing extra guys. When I say conservative, it means rushing 4. You can still cause havoc with 4 rushers. And actually, it's more beneficial for the defense to only rush 4 and cover with 7 because you have more guys covering on the back end. I think the Giants have an opportunity while adding Burns to mix up those different rotational selections given who they're going against, right? And now you look at the 3 top pass rushers. Some of these guys might rush better on the inside against a particular guard or a particular center.
Matchups.
They're going to match up. Or you still got Dexter Lawrence in there too. So I'm thinking of 4 down linemen throwing in the 3 pass rushers with Dexter Lawrence. I think that's something we're going to see. One of those guys that normally rush on the outside are going to be going against guards who usually aren't as good against guys that are smaller and more athletic than the tackles are. So it presents some opportunities I think the Giants could take advantage of.
201-939-4513. Our lines are open. We go to Riley in Philadelphia. You're next on BBKL. Hello.
Yeah, how you doing?
Hi, Riley.
I'm from Philly. No, my name is Amir. Yeah, so I'm from Philly.
What's up,
nice
Amir?
to meet you, Jonathan. Yeah, so I'm from Philly. I'm a Giants fan, so it's like kind of hard living in Philly, knowing the Eagles be good and the Cowboys. So it's like a thing with all my friends and stuff. So I just had to touch in with a couple points. Well, y'all just touched in with as far as the defensive line. And Jonathan, as far as your days in playing, all the good teams was built in from the inside and the outside, as far as the offensive line and defensive line. Like just like now, the Eagles, the Cowboys, the San Frans, unless you Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, it's like all the good teams got good O-lines. Even the Lions. And my point was, a lot of people try to downgrade Daniel Jones. I got a hate-love relationship with him. So it's like I seen the good, the bad. I really don't think he's a bad quarterback. I feel as though if you put Daniel Jones on the Eagles or the Lions or like even San Fran with like the pieces they got around him, he going to play. He probably better than Purdy, all those guys. So I feel like it's just like they said we never put him in a good predicament to dwell. So it's like I feel as though if he plays like a little bit better than he did when we went to the playoffs, it's going to be in another tug with him in the contract, and that's where it's going to get tricky at. But I feel like he's a good quarterback. We just never, even our offensive line, we had years where it's not even mid. We're not even mid, and it's like it shows. We getting top draft picks every year. It's just not working. So hopefully this year it works. And like my other point was, I really love our defense. Like I feel as though we get 2 more pieces, and our defense is like top 5 to 10 this year, and our offense is mid. We could really be scared. Like people might really not think, but I really think we could be scary this year.
Well, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. 201-939-4513. We've said it so many times on this show before. Richie James led the Giants receivers room with 57 catches during that playoff season of 2022. I will ask you this, Jonathan. How many Giants wide receivers do you think will catch more than 57 balls this year? And who would they be?
It's a good question.
I mean, I'm assuming you don't think 57 will lead the room.
No. I hope not.
I hope not, too.
Right. It's a good question. At least 50 catches. I'm thinking at least 3 from the receiving room. At least 3 from the receiving room. And one guy getting closer to the 100 catch mark.
How about Neighbors, Robinson, and Slayton?
Yeah, for sure. I think so, too. I think that's a good number. I would like Hyatt at that number. That means the Giants are going deep a lot. Because we all know, look, I don't care if he can run all his routes. So you want 4
guys over 57?
Why not? Well, over 50. Because that's only, 200 catches, right? Between 4 guys.
Yeah.
Right. That's not crazy. But you got, corporate tight ends, corporate running backs as well. But I would like the ball to be distributed very well, and I want efficiency out the passing game. I would like it to be explosive, but I'm not trying to ask for something that the Giants won't be able to do, But I would like efficiency in the passing game. I would like Daniel Jones to be over 70% completion percentage. I would like them to be efficient in the red zone and efficient in third downs. I don't really care what anything else looks like, But if you're completing the ball at a high percentage, you're good on third down, you're good in the red zone. Your numbers may not be the greatest numbers, but that's efficient ball. And I don't care if his numbers are very similar to 2022. But if he only throws 5 interceptions, that's a good thing. That's a great thing.
It would be a wonderful thing.
So for me, it's efficiency. It's not about the statistics. I could care less about statistics. I care about winning. And the Giants need to figure out how to win games. It's a collective thing. You talked about the defense being really good. The Giants' defense needs to play very well this year in order to get this offense rolling. And I agree with Amir. If the defense can be top 5, top 10, and we got a mid-tier statistical offense, I think that bodes very well for the Giants. I really do. But the Giants can't do is be inefficient on offense, cause a lot of turnovers, and then on defense, not taking the ball away. That's gonna result into a lot of losses and not a lot of wins.
Yeah.
So if the Giants can figure out a way to play efficient football, I don't care if we have a 1,000-yard receiver. I don't care if we have a 1,000-yard rusher. If we have efficient football being played, the Giants will win a lot of games. And it doesn't matter what the statistics look like. You could win by 1 point. You could be outgained by 20 yards. A win's a win. I don't care what the stats look like at the end of the year. As long as the Giants are pushing, come end of December, early January, they're still pushing and pushing for that playoff spot.
201-939-4513. You got a few minutes left. Derek is in Kansas City. You are next on BBKL. Hello.
Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going?
Good to talk to you.
What's up, Derek?
Hey, I just wanted to show some support, man. I'm really excited for this year. I hope Wandale, Jalen Hyatt, and the league neighbors, everybody gets to eat, and I'm ready to see Daniel Jones out there. And, You know what I mean? I'm just happy for them, and I just wanted to show some love, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate the call. That was quick. We got time for one more quick one. If somebody wants to get in on really fast, we'll give you a quick 2-minute phone call if you like. Our lines are open, 201-939-4513. The one thing that I think is important, even more so than how they do it, and you just said it in terms of you want to win, be efficient and win, just have a good September. Please have a good September, because we know how the snowball rolls downhill. And if you get off to a rough September start, and then right after that early couple of games, there's that nasty 5 or 6 game stretch where all of a sudden, there's a possibility, if you don't get off to a good start, that by the midpoint of the season, around Halloween, you could be suffering a lot of headaches and a lot of stomach aches and not feeling real good about the situation.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just paying attention to what the Giants have been doing, it's almost like they have to start fast. And I hate to say that, but because there's 17 games in the season, but
I know
it's really hard to recover, and to keep 100% of everybody, bought in the entire season when you're not winning games. It's really hard to do that. But look, I like what I'm seeing today. The energy out there was good at practice. I love that you have a very competitive Daniel Jones just itching and scratching to get out there, man. That sounds good. That's all good stuff to me.
Good thing that Brian Dable said, and I apologize for leaving this out earlier in the show. He said that as it stands today, they believe that everybody will be available to practice at the beginning of training camp. That's the plan. And he was asked, including Aaron Robinson, the corner who's missed the better part of 2 years. And he said, well, that's the plan. I don't know.
That's somebody we haven't really spoke about because he's missed the last 2 years.
Exactly.
Let's see how he is when he comes back.
Don't know.
Right.
It would be great to see him compete. Yeah. It really, really would. I just don't know where he stands. His knee was just ravaged. And it's been one heck of a long road for him. If he even gets back on and plays in a preseason game, I'll be happy for him.
Yeah.
In any event, that'll do it for today's show, everybody. Big Blue Kickoff Live can be heard on the archive and all of your favorite Giants podcast platforms everywhere, or at giants.com/podcasts. Remember, tomorrow's show, that will be Wednesday. Once again, because of Veteran Minicamp, we are pushing the show back from 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time to 2 o'clock Eastern Time. And we'll be back to review the second day of practices and talk more Giants football for another hour. But for now, for Jonathan Casillas, I'm Paul Dottino. This has been Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Football Giants. So long, everybody.
You never want to find yourself out on the water fishing without the essentials. So it's best to always pack a Columbia PFG Solar Stream Elite hoodie to protect against the sun. I mean, it provides great protection, and it's really breathable so you don't get hot. That's a win-win. Columbia PFG has a lot of great gear. So before you head out on the water, head over to Columbia.com/PFG to shop their performance fishing gear.
Overwhelmed by mess in your pickup bed? Upgrade with the Decked Drawer System. It's completely redesigned. Accommodate more gear in larger drawers. Extend effortlessly and keep your equipment clean and dry. Secure your loads with integrated D-ring tie-downs. Optimize your truck bed space. Proudly made in the USA. Lockable and compatible with any truck from the past 20-plus years. Simple online ordering and easy installation. Visit decked.com/iHeart for free shipping. Get Decked. Truck bed storage, toolboxes, and accessories.